Hi there, I'm Dan Rodkin, the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about some of the changes to College Rule 7.23, the Student Code of Conduct. As Associate Vice President, among my responsibilities is working with the Student Code of Conduct as the Chief Conduct Officer, and while it's a rule for students, it impacts faculty and staff because you all have a critical role in helping bring some of the issues and concerns of misconduct to my attention. On January 20, the Board of Trustees made some significant changes to College Rule 7.23, the first major changes to our Student Code of Conduct since 2008. Today I'm going to share with you a little bit about these changes and how it's going to impact you and your role here at the college. The major changes to the rule are around areas of academic misconduct. They're about some new areas of misconduct some new areas of prohibited conduct, and they've added certain rights to victims of sexual misconduct. And we'll go through all of those for your information today. The new types of prohibited conduct that have been added to the Student Code of Conduct include making unauthorized recordings. Unauthorized recordings are video or audio recordings, and while this was always not allowed at the college because of the prohibition against anything that is a violation of state or federal law, we wanted to add that specifically to the code as a request from faculty. I will point out that faculty who wish to allow students to make recordings in their classroom are allowed to do so, and we encourage you to do that by stating that on your syllabi. Please note, however, that students who have an approved accommodation through the ADA as authorized by the Disabilities Resource Center are entitled to make recordings in your class, whether you specifically allow it or not. The next new type of prohibited conduct is unauthorized use of phone, fax, printers, or copiers. And so students who perhaps make phone calls or use fax machines belonging to the college, which are unallowed, that is a form of misconduct. This does not mean that students who use their cell phones in class are violating this form of the Student Conduct Code. This would be an example of disruptive behavior, and it's something we encourage faculty to address on their syllabi and on the first day of class. Another form of prohibited conduct is gambling. Once again, this is one of those that was already covered under the portion of the Conduct Code that related to violations of state or federal laws, but now we are specifically identifying gambling as a prohibited conduct in the Student Conduct Code. Another new form of prohibited conduct is a failure to comply with a no contact order. Occasionally, student behaviors result in the college determining that they may not have a contact with a specific member of our community, whether it's a student, faculty, or staff, and failure to comply with that no contact order is a form of misconduct in itself. Any form of retaliation is now prohibited conduct. A student who retaliates against another member of our community would be considered to have violated the College Student Conduct Code. Finally, the last form of student misconduct is failure to report a criminal or disciplinary issue following admission. As some of you may know, the college application for admission requires students to disclose any previous criminal or disciplinary background. Once students are admitted, they are also required to disclose additional issues that happen while they're students here. If a student fails to disclose to the college a criminal or disciplinary issue after they're admitted to the college, that will now be considered to be a violation of the Student Conduct Code. As has been widely reported in the media, sexual violence continues to be a major problem on college campuses nationwide. As a result of these issues, the federal government has passed a number of laws to try to improve the campus climate and improve safety for all members of our community. 2 laws have been updated, specifically Federal Title IX and the Federal Clery Act. And 2 new laws have been implemented, the Campus Save Act and the Violence Against Women's Act. In response to these laws, Santa Fe College has updated its Student Conduct Code to make sure that our policies are conforming with the laws that the federal government has passed. Among the major issues here are additional rights afforded to victims of sexual violence. The third and final area I will talk about today are changes to the academic misconduct process. When we began working on changes to the code 2 years ago, we talked with a number of faculty and academic staff to make sure that we were creating a system that would make it as easy as possible for faculty to report issues of academic misconduct as they occurred. To that extent, we've made several changes to our process. First and foremost, the paper form that's been used for over a decade to report student misconduct is no longer being used. We've also gotten rid of the distinction between Level 1 and Level 2 misconduct. We've gotten rid of the requirement to contact our office before filing issues of academic misconduct. We've gotten rid of a requirement for the faculty member to speak with the student prior to reporting issues of academic misconduct. And we've also gotten rid of the Academic Honesty Committee to hear contested charges and sanctions. So while several things have changed, several things are staying the same with the new code. Faculty are still the ones responsible for reporting academic misconduct. Faculty will still be assigning classroom sanctions. Classroom sanctions is a new term for the old Level 1 sanctions, so the faculty's responsibility or rights are staying the exact same. They're still reporting and they're still determining what sanctions they want as related to the classroom. And we strongly encourage faculty to meet with a student ahead of time. In this new day and age with online classes, we know that faculty don't always see their students, and so we were getting a lot of paperwork turned in with that faculty member had never actually seen the student. Our new policy allows for that to happen, but we really want faculty to talk with the student because that's really where the learning takes place, which is part of our goal of our student conduct process. So how do faculty report academic misconduct under the new Student Conduct Code? We've created an online student conduct reporting form specifically for academic misconduct. Shown here, the new online student conduct report form will be used by faculty to report academic misconduct that happens in their classroom. As you can see, we need to know the name of the faculty member who's reporting it, so we need your name. We need a way of getting a hold of you, so your phone number and email are important, and we need to know the course and section number in which the misconduct occurred. We also need to know the date of the incident, so please be accurate in that. The second section is the involved parties. Typically, this will be one student, the student who committed the academic misconduct. But if you have a situation where 2 or more students were involved, you can simply click the Add Another Person button to add more than one student to the form. You don't need to do more than one form when there's more than one student involved in the same incident. If there were more people involved and you had 2 students that did it, but you might have had another student who witnessed it, you can add the witnesses' names here as well. In the About Academic Misconduct section, that's an opportunity for the faculty member to describe the issues as they occurred. We need faculty to check off the type of academic misconduct as defined in the Student Conduct Code. If the incident is multiple types, it's okay to check more than one box. The large box for the narrative is important because that explains to the conduct officer and possibly a hearing board what actually happened. This could be an explanation of the plagiarism. It could be a description of something which happened in Canvas, which led you to believe that it was academic misconduct. If there's witnesses involved, feel free to use this space to describe all the students listed and their roles in the misconduct. As I said earlier, faculty have the responsibility for assigning classroom sanctions. And so this next spot on the form is where you identify which classroom sanctions you want assigned. Once again, you may have more than one checked if necessary. If you would like the student to have a required retest, resubmission, or you would like the grade to be reduced, please describe exactly what you would like so we can make sure that we carry out your desire when working with the student on the misconduct. Earlier, I mentioned that faculty are not required to meet with students about their misconduct, but we really want them to. The next question is a chance for you just to simply let us know whether or not you've talked with a student. We will adjust our communications to the student based on what you tell us. Finally, you should know that the Conduct Office has the right to assign an XF grade as a sanction, which indicates failure due to academic misconduct. This is a fairly serious sanction. As a matter of practice, our office does not assign an XF grade without first speaking with the faculty member involved. If you believe that the misconduct here is of a serious enough nature that we should assign an XF grade, we ask you to indicate that here on the form. The next section of your form is supporting documentation, and this is really important because it provides the evidence or the proof of the misconduct. If you're not sure what documentation we are looking for, please contact our office. Our phone number and email are provided here, so you can contact us and we can walk you through the process. Our goal is that this be a simple process for you, something you can use easily, and that we can hold students accountable. So by all means, please contact us if you have any questions about completing this form. Finally, the last item on the form is a requirement that we use simply to make sure that we get real reports from real people and not from robots. Please use the box here and type in those 6 letters or numbers found to the right so that we can submit your report appropriately. And note that you will receive an email copy of this report as indicated by the checkbox above the Submit Report button. If you do not want an email copy of this report, you may uncheck the box before you press the Submit button. Please note this online form is a new form, and we vetted it by a number of faculty and academic administrators before posting it. That said, if you find it challenging to use or you have any suggestions for improvement, please let me know, and we'd be happy to take your suggestions into account. So what happens after the form is submitted? The information comes to our office, and we immediately contact the student to let them know about the charge and the sanction. We meet with the student to discuss their rights and to make sure they understand exactly what they've been charged with and why, and we let them know what their options are at this point in the conduct process. Students have the right to accept the charge and the sanction, or they have a right to contest the charge and the sanction, and we make sure they understand what those rights are. If the student accepts the charge and the sanction, we provide them information about it, and that's the end of the case. If the student chooses to contest the charge and the sanction, we will have a formal hearing held to determine the responsibility of academic misconduct and a recommendation for sanctions. At all times during this process, the conduct office will keep the faculty member informed of the case status, so they are always aware of where this process is and moving towards its conclusion. So to summarize, the changes to the Student Conduct Code include new forms of prohibited conduct, a new set of rights to victims of sexual misconduct, and a new process for academic misconduct. You can read more about these changes in the new Student Conduct Code, available online at the URL shown here. We also have hard copies of the Student Conduct Code, which I would be happy to send to you for your reading pleasure. As always, you are more than welcome to contact my office with any questions you might have about the Student Conduct Code and our process for working with students accused of academic misconduct. And if you are interested in being involved in the Student Conduct Code as a member of a hearing board, we would certainly welcome your involvement. I look forward to working with you on this process, and I hope you have a great semester.